Hey everybody, we are here at the Passport Game Studio booth and I am with Andre Novak. We're going to talk about this game and he's going to give us the lowdown on what is Mistfall. It's all nice and neat, got all the little components here, but this is the only copy we've got here and we got to kind of do a Mod Podge display here, but he is going to give his best explanation on how Mistfall works. All you, buddy.
Hi. So let's get down to business. It's a cooperative adventure game. I want to call it a combo making game. So because
a humble making game.
The way you defeat your enemies is by making combos. So what we have here, we've got hero charters. Each hero comes with abilities and then a deck of cards. So let's look for the right hero. This is Venda the Ravencrag Fury, and this will be her starting deck of cards. So the way the game works is actually pretty simple. You build a map, start from one location to try to move to the end location where you will attempt to defeat the final enemy, the villain, the ultimate evil. So you move from one location to another, and in each location you draw an encounter card. And I'm going to look for one. This is an encounter card.
Okay.
The encounter card will tell you what kind of enemies you have to bring on, who will chase you, and how you can defeat the enemies and what you need to do to clear the location to make it a safe location.
Okay.
So then you can move on. Basically, each location has a type and you have to look for an encounter of that specific type. Once you find the correct encounter, you put it down on the table, you do the setup part, you do exactly what the encounter tells you. The encounter will also tell you what you need to defeat and how. So then you get into the regular gameplay. You will bring enemies which will make a queue. You will distribute enemies to all the players according to their enemy focus, which is a track here. You start with a default number of enemy focus, and then the more cards you play, this will increase, and the more enemies come to chase you and try to kill you, your enemy focus will decrease.
Okay.
Right. And you have cards in your hand, and which are called feats and gears on the table. So Venda will start with two hand axes. Each of these cards has one or more actions you can do. You have fast actions, which you can do as many as you want on your turn. You have regular actions, which are limited to one per turn.
Okay.
You can always, or most of these actions, you'll be able to boost them by spending other cards from your hand. So this is how it works. The amount of cards you have in your hand, deck, and discard pile are your life.
Okay, well that's very reminiscent to Pathfinder Adventure card game. Like your deck, your hand is your life.
Yeah.
And if that runs out, you're dead.
In this case, you can have no cards in your discard pile, no cards in your deck. As long as you have something in your hand, you're still good to go. You need to be always able to draw back cards up to your hand size at the end of the turn. Now, the cards can come back from the burial pile back to the discard pile. This is how this happens. Once you clear one location, you defeated the encounter, your enemies are gone, you fulfill the objective. Each location will give you a restoration value plus your default restoration value from your hero.
Okay.
Let's say you have 4. Let's say these cards were in our burial pile.
So these were cards I played during this encounter with these enemies.
When you play them, they go to your discard pile.
Okay.
Now, when the enemy turn comes, they will attack you. If you cannot prevent or counter that damage,
Then they go up to there.
then you will discard. You will move cards from either discard, hand, or deck to your burial pile.
Okay, so those are like wounds then.
These are like wounds.
Okay.
Now, you have wound tokens for the enemies. When you kill them, they're dead.
Okay.
You don't get wounds. Your damage gets card into your burial
Correct.
pile. Now, with the restoration, you can move cards from the burial pile. So this will be one restoration, burial to discard. Another restoration point from the discard under your deck.
So that would take 2 restoration to go from here to here, to under your deck, and then that gives you a health back, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So you can restore. Also, when you defeat enemies, you get let's call it in-game currency. With this currency, you can spend it to buy better cards.
So almost like it's a gold value, and then you just spend the gold to be able to upgrade your character.
The more monsters you defeat, the better your hand becomes. However, the more monsters you defeat and the better cards you're playing, the more enemy focus, so the more
Yes.
enemies are coming to you. So there is always a checks and balances kind of system.
So you really need to work together and be smart about what cards you're upgrading, because some of them do work together even, right?
Of course, the whole game is about making combos and taking on the enemies which you can defeat, and also about going for the enemies of other players, because if one player in your party dies before the final encounter, you all lose.
Okay.
So it's not like I will win alone, you guys are whatever.
Right.
You always need to work together. Each of the 7 possible heroes you can play has weak spots, but very powerful abilities which work against a specific type of enemies, a specific situation, a specific encounter. You always need to check how you can help your party.
So is there a hand size limit? I mean, or can you have as many cards as you want in your deck?
There is a draw limit. At the end of your turn, you will draw up to 5 cards. Now, if at some point by some abilities, for example, by buying cards which go directly to your hand, you get up to 8 or 9 cards in your hand, you will not discard down to a hand limit. This is what we call it a draw limit.
Okay.
You always draw up to 5 cards. If you have more at the end of your turn, you're good to go. You don't have to draw anything.
Okay. And then we've got a whole scenario book here, I noticed, a quest guide.
Yeah.
Now, explain how the quest guide works. Now, if I was to beat, say, quest 1, does my character like level to the next quest, or is this just, hey, we beat this scenario, now let's reset and let's try to beat the next scenario?
The base game is exactly like that. You beat one scenario and then you move to the next scenario. Now, we have an expansion which was on the original Kickstarter project, which will also be in retail later on. With that one, you have what we call legacy feats, which are moved from one scenario to another.
Ooh, that sounds fun. I like that idea a lot. But this is still cool. This is going to give you a great game experience to be able to beat these scenarios, see if you like it, and then after that, maybe you'd want to go through a campaign.
On top of that, each scenario can be played differently every time because you draw new locations, therefore new encounters. So overall, it's a different game every time.
So every time you do a scenario, you will always have a different layout?
Yeah.
Oh, that's even better. I like that a lot. So that would keep the game pretty fresh, that's for sure. And plus, you said seven different characters you could choose from.
So you can always, the game is up to 4 players. In theory, it could be played with more players, but the downtime would be too much. I mean, the game is already, it's not an easy game. It's a game for experienced players. It's not complicated, but it's complex. And you can choose to play with one or many characters. Even for a solo play, can, for example, team up 2 characters and control them one after another. It's difficult, but for people with a bright mind, it's not going to be impossible.
Awesome. Well, hey, I really appreciate your time. Thank you for giving us a rundown on Mistfall, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your Gen Con.
My pleasure. Thanks a lot.